Now here with our videos are all about family and the racing family. And Rusty, probably one of the reasons why a majority of our drivers come here to buy car parts from you is because you have a heart for the drivers. Well, hello everyone and welcome to Race Talk with Roy Henry. Today we are here at CarQuest in Attica, Indiana. What's really nice about what happens here at CarQuest is that it is good for every vehicle in the racing family. Vehicles that you use to drive to work, vehicles that you use to haul the race car, and the race cars themselves. Could you give us a listing of some of the drivers that come here and buy parts at CarQuest?
We got lots and lots of local drivers, both Vermilion County and Benton and Warren and Fountain County that comes in here and buys from us. Tippecanoe County, to name a few, is Dustin Jones, Tim Reynolds, Ian Keller, Derek Allen, Wally J. Kirst, Larry Matillo, Jason Breyer. Both the Gregory boys comes in here quite often.
Some of the other names we got wrote down here: Sir Joseph.
Yes.
Brian Rickey.
Yes. Lee J. Hall, Lee Joseph Hall.
And of course we don't
John
want
Strasser.
John Strasser.
Yeah.
We don't want to forget Zach Drake.
No, I can't forget him. And then one thing that we do here that we do for all the local racers, whether it be Vermilion, Charleston, wherever, we have what we call a racer's account set up to where all the racers buy at 10% over cost.
Really?
Yeah, we do that on everything. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is.
Wait a minute. 10% over cost?
Yes, yes sir.
That's huge.
That's just to help out our local racers on a personal basis. 'Cause I know what kind of money it takes to run these things. And a lot of these guys, it's a hobby, and it's a tight budgeted hobby. So that's one thing we have done as our family, as a personal contribute to it, is we've done that for years.
Rusty, could you give us a walkthrough of your store and tell us how CarQuest is beneficial to our entire racing family?
Yes, we stock a lot of this stuff out here in the front is all bolt-on accessory stuff like wiper blades, batteries, lighting, electrical, detail, cleanup stuff, paint and body, motor oils, all your motor oils and filters. General maintenance things are all out here in front. A lot of this stuff out here the general public can look around and pick up themselves without having to have anybody assist them. All of this from this corner here all the way down, all the way around, is all aftermarket race parts. We try to keep them updated and stocked on a daily basis. And then if we don't have something here and somebody wants it, we're constantly adding every week with our regular stock orders. Somebody wants us to keep stuff on hand, we do it on a daily basis. We sell race fuel in the back. Pretty much anything we can get race related, we can have overnight on a daily basis. We have free catalogs to give the guys. They can call us on the phone, said we need this, this, and this, and I just get on the phone, call it, get a hold of my sales rep, and boom, we got it.
So Rusty, thank you for giving us a walkthrough of the front part of your store. Could you give us a walkthrough back in the back?
Yes. Everything back here behind the counter is all your hardcore parts, like your bolt-on stuff, like your filters, alternator starters. We mix paint back in that room back there where we mix pretty much all base clear and enamel paints for foreign and domestic vehicles. All this stuff back in here, I try to keep this stuff all contained together. This is brake bolt-on. This aisle here would be all heating, cooling, electrical. This aisle here is just all tune-up. This is overstock in chemicals, bearing seals, chassis parts, and everything back here is electrical continued. Offices back there, of course. And then this is all fuel pumps, chassis shocks. And this is the area where we check in all of our inventory every day. We'll get a night delivery out here in the shop, which you'll see in a little bit. And then we bring everything in here in plastic totes and check them in every day and enter them and put them away and on a daily basis.
Now Rusty, concerning a regular race car that we see out the racetrack racing, what parts are there on the car that you do not, what I'm trying to say is you probably cover all the parts.
We pretty much close to 90-95% of everything on it. So We can pretty much get almost anything, yes, on a daily basis. Yes.
So then if you don't have it here that day,
We would have it within a day to day and a half, yes.
okay. Okay, we're back here in the back with Rusty Drake here at CarQuest. And Rusty, this is where you work on cars.
Yes.
Rusty, today you did a job for Jeff Houchins of HP Machine. Well, it wasn't you, but it was Zach. And what did Zach do?
Well, I used to detail cars quite a bit, and when he first got his driver's license, I kind of rolled all my customers over to him, let him have it, so give him gas money. I supplied the shop materials, and just let him keep the money from it, and then give him gas money, and then he worked for me on the side here at the store too. That's how he kind of started in here.
So here at CarQuest, through Zach Drake, you do car detailing.
We do some car detailing, or he does, and then we put on, like I say, a lot of accessories here, lift kits, tire wheel packages. We put on a lot of accessories. We don't do a lot of mechanical because that'd be direct competition with a lot of my customers, so we don't do much mechanical work really at all. So.
Now here with our videos are all about family and the racing family. And Rusty, probably one of the reasons why a majority of our drivers come here to buy car parts from you is because you have a heart for the drivers, because you have a history in the racing field. Rusty, we'd like to ask you to give us a tour of your trophies that you have and some of the memorabilia that you have on the wall, and explain to us what we're looking at.
Yeah, well, back in the 90s, before Zachary was born, we run a B-Mod. We built a new one. Back then it was called the MMAs. Our first year we run halfway through the season, and we finished 8th in points as this middle trophy. Second year we run, which would have been 98, we got second in points. And then our final year was 99. We won the championship with John Pearson driving with us all 3 years. This is the whole side of our championship car. And I always kept the roofs off of every one of our cars from the first year, every year, as well as we kept the whole side of Zach's rookie car, the black 17 car, from his rookie year and his top. Just kind of a sentimental thing I've always kept. We leave the dirt, mud, everything else, and that's exactly how it come off the track on the last night that we raced. So, I don't know, it's just a memorabilia thing for me. I've always kept the driver's side of the cars and the tops. So, just a memory thing.
Rusty, you've been with CarQuest now for 26 years, this month.
Yes.
And it was 22 years ago that you got involved with racing.
Yes.
And that's another reason why we're here to talk about history of racing with our racetrack. So if we go back 22 years to you're here at CarQuest and somebody comes in your store and talks to you about what?
Well, we got approached about building, and back then it was a B-Mod. It's like an MMA is what they called it then. Joe and Daryl Reynolds was building them, and we built a brand new car then. Brian Wilson drove it for us 2 or 3 weekends, and then he decided it was too big of a change between street stock and then the B-Mod. So we contacted a friend of mine by reference, and John Pearson started driving it for us, and he drove it for us from that point on. As you can see up there on the wall, we was very successful with John. He's a good guy and a great driver. Good personal friend.
And so, because of your years in racing, you know what it's like to be a race car driver. When race car drivers come in here to talk to you about parts, you pretty much know how to take care of them in more ways than one.
You got to listen a lot, because everything's a little bit different. Everybody's got something different, so you got to keep an open mind and open ears. Work with them, and they'll work with you, and between the two of you, you can pretty much figure anything out, most generally. So.
Okay, so we were talking about Brian Wilson at first.
Yes.
22 years ago.
Yes.
And then that was a short time, and then John Pearson came into the picture.
Yes, he did.
Okay, and then what was the last year that you can remember with John Pearson?
It was the championship year of '99 when we won the championship at Camp Motor Speedway at that time.
Okay, so in '99, there's somebody that's already been around for 3 years, and we're talking about Zach Drake.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about Zach Drake, we talk about Jordan Schreiner, and the age of Jordan Schreiner and the years racing of Jordan Schreiner. What was the story?
I was informed, actually, it was one of your trivia questions at the track. I did not know this, but I thought it was pretty interesting that the day that Zachary was born, which is 4/11/97, was the very first time Jordan started racing. He'd done his first race. And
Jordan Schreiner.
Jordan Schreiner, yes. So when we won that championship, Zachary would have been 2 at that time. He was just a toddler.
Okay, so when you won the last championship in 1999, Zach, you call him Zachary?
Zach. Well, that's his official name is Zachary. We always call him Zach, amongst other things.
Okay, so Zach was 2 years old then. So what happens between the years of 1999 when Zach is 2 years old until the time that he's going to start racing? What's going on with you then?
I can tell you exactly what happened. We had a guy that come up and wanted to buy our modified, and he wanted to buy everything lock, stock, and barrel. So I sold everything except the trailer. We had absolutely nothing. And all going up through school, Zach played sports, stuff like that, and he really didn't like sports, basketball, football, any of that stuff, really. He played basketball up through junior high, I believe it was. His mom convinced me to let him try racing.
Whoa, wait a minute.
This is Mom's fault. I'm telling you right now, this is all Mom's fault. And we went and watched a race, because Jason Breyer talked me into going back to Darty and watch a race. And I told her, I said, the second I smell that race fuel, it's going to be on again.
So Racing Jason brought Zach Drake in the picture?
And his mother.
Whoa.
Because I did not want to get back into it, because I had sold everything. We'd be starting from scratch again. And so much of the setups and the cars had changed since we'd run it before. So we went up and watched, literally, mark this as my word, we went up and watched on Saturday and watched the races. Sunday, we was on our way to Richmond to pick up a car.
Wow.
The very next day.
Now how old is Zach at this time?
He would have been 17. He just turned 17, so. And he run maybe 5, 6 races that year in the Sport Compact, and then I decided we was going to go up to this class. It was more like, similar to like what we run with the B-Mod and with the metric chassis and that stuff I was more familiar with. So.
Now Rusty,
That's my fault.
Rusty, I don't remember the Sport Compact. Was that number 17?
Yeah. It was a Chevy Cavalier. We actually sold that car to Wendy and Bob Ransom.
Yeah.
And that's the one that she rolled and got hurt in. Luckily, because I told them when they bought that car, I said, that's one thing about that car. It has got a awesome chassis in it. And that, as bad as that wreck was, she's very grateful that we had a good chassis on that car.
So wasn't really luck. It was, she was blessed because she had the right equipment.
It was a good little car. It was a great little car, a great safe car. And as a father, that's the only thing I look at far, and the very first thing I look at is safety with whether it's my kid or anything else on this car as a safety factor. I try to look for his safety as well as all the other fellow drivers that he's running with.
Okay, Rusty, at this time, could we bring Zach into the picture and the three of us talk?
Absolutely.
Okay, Zach, we're going to go back to the 2014 season, and we're at the last 5 races of the season, and you've got a first-time car for you. It's a Sport Compact. Now, at that time, did you have the 17Z?
Yes.
When you started with your first car, what got you back into it? Because your dad wasn't really interested in getting back into racing because you're going to have to start all over again. But what happened was Racing Jason came into the picture and took you and the whole family to the racetrack. Now, when we're talking about you and the whole family, who are we talking about?
That'd be my mom, Melissa, and my dad, of course, my little brother and sister, Garrett and Gracie.
Now, your brother and sister, their ages are?
They're 14.
They're 14 because they are?
They're twins.
Twins. Now, when you come to the races now, when you come to the races now, does the whole family come together still?
Yep, absolutely.
And where do they sit at?
They sit right in the middle of the grandstands, right underneath where you do your thing up there.
So Zach, let's go back to wintertime 2015. The 2014 season's over. You spent 4 or 5 weeks in the Sport Compact class, and now you want to jump up to the Pure Street class. And so you found another car in Brownsburg, but you're going to have to do a lot of work to it. When you started to work on your car, who is it that works on the car? Was it you and your dad, or is there somebody else that comes in and help you?
It was me and him, of course. Steve Gibson came in, John Pearson, actually Jonah Bino over at JRB Fabrications. He put the body on it and done the center cage in it.
Jeff's been involved since day one.
When you say Jeff, you're talking about Jeff Howard.
Jeff Houchins, he's a good friend, both on the business aspect of it, with me here and up there. He's just.
And when you're talking about that with Jeff Houchins, you're actually talking about that with all the race car drivers that come here and buy parts.
There's a lot of guys that come in here that race right in the same class with us. And you know, we give each other information. I mean, not everything, but I mean, we're right there to help one another out. And I mean, I'm right there to help any of them at any time. I mean, we help a lot of guys at different classes. They'll come up and ask you information, and as well as we do them. And it's good and personal. There's a lot of friendships made, a lot of bonding going on, even off the season, after season. I mean, it's our ritual, his and I, is we race on Saturday, come in here, clean everything up, repair whatever, and then you got the rest of the week to relax and do whatever if nothing catastrophic has happened. But and then we went and we've helped guys like Wally J, and we've helped Tim Reynolds, and we've helped Ian Keller, and they brought their cars over here, and we've worked on them before, and Dustin Jones too. I mean, a lot of those guys, you just got good, close bonding relationships with all of them on personal levels as well as at the track, and there's a lot of good friends. We've got a lot of good friendships made there.
But when you're talking about helping the drivers that you mentioned, you're actually a sponsor for them.
A lot of them we are, and a lot of them we help out behind the scenes, but there's a lot of them that we help out a little bit more. I mean, it's that, like I said, that close bond thing that we've had with them. So.
But when we talk about sponsor and CarQuest and Rusty Drake, that's what we're talking about. The CarQuest tonight will be inducted into the Mall of Fame. And so now, Zach, as you are inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight, we are talking about your situation where you started racing in the 2015 in the Pure Street. Tell us, what was it like switching over from the Sport Compact to the Pure Street, your first few weeks racing at Pure Street in 2015?
It was a huge difference getting used to a rear-wheel drive car. Obviously, bigger motor, more competition.
So I didn't really realize that. So you'd say, are most Sport Compacts
Front-wheel drive.
front-wheel drive? So switching over to Pure Street, then you have
Rear-wheel drive.
rear-wheel drive, and you have bigger engine. So what size engine did you have?
I had a 350 small bore.
Do you remember winning your first race?
2015, I did get one heat race win. It was in the middle of the season. It was just something about that. Something I'll never forget.
That was the question. You still remember everything.
Yeah.
So your first win, though, you know what's going on up in the bleachers with your family.
Mm-hmm.
They're excited, you're excited.
Yeah.
What about Rusty Drake? How do you remember that first win in 2015?
Oh, it was exciting. Not near as emotional as the first feature win.
Okay, now what year do we have to go to get the first feature win?
That was
2016.
this year.
This year, 2016.
And had a lot of close calls. There should have been a lot more feature wins. We've had a lot of close calls.
Can you tell us, do you remember, did you have any accidents while you were racing? In the Sport Compact, you didn't have any accidents, not to speak of, but you had an accident win.
My very first race, feature time in a Pure Street.
What happened?
It looked like from where I was sitting, 2 cars spin, and then I see one fly up in the air, and
That happened to be
Dustin Jones. And luckily, I don't know how I did it, but I made it past it, and I did end up getting T-bone in the side, but that was it. It did break a trailing arm, and unfortunately I couldn't finish my night doing that.
Well, you said the word luckily, but honestly, there's probably maybe an angel with you. What do you think?
Yeah, there was. I've got two of them sitting back here with me right now on the back of my car. My good friend that passed away in a car wreck a few years ago, and then my grandpa Garland that passed away.
Wow, that's special. Okay, and talking about that, Zach, could we do a walk around your car now?
Absolutely.
We're here with Zach Drake, driver car number 17Z in the Pure Street class. And Zach, could you give us a run through of your sponsors? Like, who's this sponsor right here?
This is actually, well, right here, CarQuest of Attica, of course. Also got JRB Fabrications. They built, this is a brand new car. They built this whole thing from the ground up. Jonah Bynum and John Strasser over there, they do great work. They've been with me since 2015. Horsepower wise, motor, Jeff Houghton's over at HP Machine over in Williamsport. He's built my motor in my old car, which is in this one now. Infected chassis, that's just what this whole chassis is called here. MK4, they're out of Judyville, Indiana. They're a farming operation. And then Indiana Farm Bureau, they're out of Williamsport. Right there I got my memory for my friend that passed away, my grandpa. Kind of wanted it on a spot that wouldn't get beat up. Myers Farms, they're out of Judyville as well. And then Peterson Crop Insurance, that's my uncle out of Williamsport. And then right back here, the transmission behind this is Taylor Transmissions. He done that for me. My grandma and grandpa, of course, they didn't want their name on the car now. They just wanted to help out, so I figured I'd mention them now.
Now, your grandpa and grandma, what are their names?
Ed and Carol Drake.
Okay, and where do they live?
They actually live 2 houses down from me
And
in
do they-
Williamsport.
In Williamsport, and so do they come to the races?
Yep, every Saturday.
Okay. Well, Rusty and Zach, it's been really good being with you here today at CarQuest to learn the history of your racing, the history of your involvement with CarQuest. And so we want to say now that Rusty Drake, with CarQuest, you are now officially inducted into the Mall of Fame, Henry Speedway Mall of Fame.
Thank you.
And Mr. Zach Drake, you are now officially inducted into the Henry Speedway Hall of Fame.
Thank you, sir.
June 28th, 2016. Okay, Rusty, could you tell us if people were coming from Lafayette, how would they come to CarQuest?
Well, when you come into Attica, you're coming in south on 41, and then we're on the right-hand side, straight across from the golf course, right here on 41 South.
Okay, and then if people were coming from Danville, which way would they come?
They would be coming 74 east to 41 north, and then we'd be on the left-hand side as soon as you come into town.
What's nice about your location is you're right here next to the highway.
Right on the main highway coming in town.
Also, Zach is very blessed because where you work on Zach's car is attached to the building.
Yes, everything's all connected together. We just put this new building up about 3 years ago. This is all new and attached to our existing back shop.
Okay, at this time we're going to bring in our cameraman, Cameron the cameraman, and Trevor Howard, our other second cameraman. Thank you everyone, and have a good evening.